Hey there, Massa with the Massa Mortgage team. Wanted to put a video out there in response to all of the videos that I see all over online, calls I get all the time from different clients and agents, and that is the house hack. You guys have probably seen this, whether it was on a reel, TikTok, whatever. The ultimate house hack is go out, find a duplex, do minimum down payment on that duplex, and then your tenants will pay enough rent to cover your mortgage payment. It's a house hack. You still build equity based on the payments of others. So, pros and cons to this, because all you see are the pros, and I want you to actually take a minute and think about the cons, because I always say just because I can doesn't mean you should or that you would want to. So let's talk about the pros. The pros are everything that you see online that I've already explained. You can find a low down payment program, whether that's 3.5% with FHA, even a 5% down conventional loan will allow for this, or you can even piggyback that with a down payment assistance program. So think about this. You might be able to get into a duplex, have a renter on one side. We can use their income to help offset some of that payment. You can use their income to make the mortgage payment. And now all of a sudden you're into a house with very little money down, very small monthly investment. Boom, there's your pros. Let's talk about the cons a minute, because nobody talks about the cons. If you do not have enough money to come up with your down payment, or maybe you're getting it as a gift and the closing costs are covered, what are you gonna do if that tenant leaves? What are you gonna do if they call you at 10 o'clock one night and the dishwasher broke, or you have something over there that you need to repair, or they clogged the toilet and it's now going everywhere in the bathroom? These are real life scenarios that happen as you are now a landlord. Think of everything you've called your landlord for. Are those things that you, if you get that phone call, do you have the savings for that? Do you have the money to cash flow that without having to put it on a credit card? So think of it from the perspective of what is going to be your monthly outlay for maintenance and service to the now tenant that you're going to have. Also, I want you to think about, what if that tenant is no longer there? Or even worse, what if that tenant is there, won't leave, and stops paying rent? Okay, I saw a lot of investors go through this back, especially during COVID, when a lot of the cities across the country put mandates in that you could not evict anybody. It was a terrible time. A lot of people got laid off from their jobs. It's still happening. I mean, we're not in the best of economies we've ever been in right now. What if your landlord loses, or your tenant loses their job and they don't have the money to pay you? You can't call the mortgage company and say, I'm sorry, I can't pay rent or pay my mortgage payment because my tenant stopped paying rent. It doesn't work that way. So you need to make 100% sure, if you're gonna move forward with this house hack, and this is your approach to home ownership to get you into that first investment property, it's fantastic. But what I need you to understand is you need to have sufficient savings sitting there in an account ready to help if there are maintenance issues. You need to have sufficient savings sitting there to offset any rents that you aren't going to collect if and when this does happen. Or like I said, if you have a tenant that just stops paying but they won't leave, you need to have savings sitting there in case you need to hire an attorney because you have a tenant that's living there that won't leave. Do you see where I'm going with this? Think through the what ifs, think through your financial situation, and think through, how does this affect me and what happens if? That's all I'm asking for here, is a little bit of consideration. We see the pros all the time and they look awesome, but I want you to think through the cons. I want you to think through all of the components of this, because if you're utilizing that down payment assistance or somebody else is helping you with that, if you don't have the money saved up, if you're utilizing the rent to get you qualified for that higher mortgage payment, it might not be the best time for you to move forward with this type of property, because I want to see you set up for success, and I don't want the what ifs to be a reason why you end up in a bad financial situation, why you end up with late mortgage payments, or you are just in over your head. So now might not be the best time to do it. Not that we can't do it in the future, but this might not be the right time to look at this option. A lot of people don't have the heart to be a landlord. What does that mean? If you've got a single mama living in your other half of your duplex and she lost her job and stopped paying rent, are you able to have that conversation and make her leave? A lot of people, your hearts are too big for that. You can't think about actually putting that out there. That puts the financial burden on you. That puts the need to get an attorney involved and file paperwork to be able to evict on you. Is that something you are ready to take on? If the answer is no, that's just fine. Let's get you in. We'll get you pre-approved to buy a single family house or maybe a townhome. Let's get you into your first home and get you set up correctly for the future, that maybe you can turn this into investment passive income down the road. Thanks so much for listening. If you or anybody you know needs to get pre-approved for your next mortgage, feel free to reach out. We'd love to help you. I don't know if I can do this with an audience. That's my cue to go.